So DC is known for a lot of things. Wonks, the president, Congress, the White House, tourists, and cherry blossoms, just to name a few things. Oh, the cherry blossoms. If you have ever been to DC, when the cherry blossoms are blooming, it is one of the most magical times in our beautiful city. It might be the prettiest time to visit Washington, the spring that is. And if you can plan your trip, or if you magically get here and the cherry blossoms are in their peak bloom season, it is a sight to see. It's also a lot of people to see. There are so many people there sometimes, it's hard to even see the blossoms for the people. So how do you see the blossoms like a local? How do you make the most of the Cherry Blossom Festival like a local? That's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. I'm Sherry Ann Green with Coldwell Banker. Welcome to my YouTube channel that guides home sellers and home buyers in Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. Perhaps the prettiest season in DC is the spring. The cherry blossoms are just one of the beautiful things that are happening in our city during that time. There are tulips and daffodils and tulip magnolias and other things that are blooming around the city as well. But DC is very much known for the cherry blossoms, and it really begins the spring season for the city. It also begins the tourist season for the city because a lot of people try to plan their spring breaks or their spring trips so they can see those beautiful cherry blossoms. And seeing the blossoms is just one important part of the cherry blossom season, let's call it. And later on in this video, I'll tell you the secret places to see blossoms, so that you're not in all of those hordes of people. But the first thing I want to talk about is, how do you celebrate cherry blossom season like a local? What do you do? Where do you go? And how do you participate? The blossoms are such an important part of the city that yes, there is an entire festival around the cherry blossoms, and there are lots of ways that you can participate. And a lot of things that you can do to participate are actually free. It doesn't cost you anything to participate in most of the things that I'm going to tell you about. The festival runs 4 weeks. But don't be confused. The blossoms do not peak for 4 weeks. They probably only peak for about a week. We might get almost 2 weeks if we're lucky. And if we get a strong windstorm, it's all over in a matter of a couple of days. The blossoms are very delicate and they're very finicky to bad weather. So the season, the Cherry Blossom Festival, is actually a 4-week-long celebration. And why is that if they only bloom for a week? It's very hard to predict when those cherry blossoms are going to come out. It's all based on the weather and when does it warm up and when do they get comfortable and when do they want to show off. So the festival used to be a much shorter period of time, and what would happen most of the time? The festival would be happening and there would be no blossoms. It'd either be too early for them or they would have already fallen all the way to the ground. So a few years ago, the festival committee, it's actually a nonprofit I'll tell you about later, decided to make the festival 4 weeks worth of fun. And that way there's something to do around the cherry blossoms for an entire month of time, and some point in that 4-week period, the blossoms typically are in season and are in their peak bloom, so it corresponds with the festival now, one way or the other. The festival this year, 2022, runs from March 20th to April 17th, and there are lots of things to do during that festival. More on that later. The first question you probably have is, why on earth are there so many cherry blossoms here that we created an entire festival for it? So first, let's talk about the history of the cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C., so you can understand why it's such an important part of our culture. The National Cherry Blossom Festival commemorates the 1912 gift of 3,000 cherry trees from the mayor of Tokyo at the time to the city of Washington, D.C. And it celebrates the enduring friendship of the two countries, the United States and Japan. As I mentioned, the festival is 4 weeks long and it welcomes over 1.5 million visitors to see the beautiful blossoms and to celebrate in all the festivities. The festival is organized by the National Cherry Blossom Festival Inc. It's a 501c3 that is dedicated to promoting the beauty of nature and the enduring friendship between Japan and the United States. Each year there is an official artist who creates the commemorative piece of artwork that is used to promote and market the festival. It's always unique and specific to the style of artist that they have picked. It goes on everything you can imagine: souvenirs, cups, t-shirts, posters. So it makes a great souvenir for you to be able to take home a piece of that festival in the artwork designed by the official artist. What you don't want to take home with you is a branch or a blossom. The cherry trees are extremely delicate. So taking a branch, picking a blossom, putting it in your hair, climbing a tree can all damage and even kill a cherry tree. So please look, but don't touch. Snap all the pictures you want, just don't snap a branch. So how can you celebrate the blossoms and this beautiful festival? Here are just a few of the events I think you should check out. There is an opening ceremony which kicks off the entire festival. It features special performances with artists with ties to both countries. Can't attend the opening ceremony but want to get your house involved in all of the festivities? Consider participating in Petal Porches. Last year, the festival decided to create a way for people at home to be able to celebrate. Petal Porches was created as a way to get people involved in the ceremonies without having to leave their homes. When we had to do a lot of events virtually because of the pandemic, the festival organizers wanted a way for people to feel like they were getting to participate in the festival like they normally did. Yes, it was started because of the pandemic, but it's also a fun way to decorate the city. So with Petal Porches, people are encouraged to decorate their homes in branches of cherry blossoms and pink and petals. You can actually register your house. Let the festival know that you have decorated your porch because there's a contest. For more information on how to decorate your house and how to register, check out the link below in the description so you can get all of the information on Petal Porches. One of the largest spectator events as part of the festival is the parade. It runs along Constitution Avenue. Most of it is free to the public. There are some grandstand seatings, and if you want a grandstand seat, you're going to want to register and pay for that. I'll put a link in the description. But it's a huge parade and it's fun. There are helium balloons and floats and performers, and it's another way to be outside and to celebrate the beautiful festival. Another free and fun event is the Blossom Kite Festival. Usually held on the National Mall, it encourages people to bring their kites, people of all ages, kids and seniors alike, to fly a kite. It's usually the last week in March. Now, if you want to participate virtually or in your own neighborhood, that's encouraged this year too. So maybe you have a neighborhood park and neighborhood friends and you want to get together and fly your kites. Make sure you put that on social media and share it. Everybody would love to see where you're flying a kite, whether it's on the mall or in your own backyard. Looking for something a little more upbeat? How about Petalpalooza? Petalpalooza is an all-day event for all ages. It's full of activities and music along the Anacostia River. There are art installations, outdoor music, a beer garden, all kinds of ways to enjoy this outdoor all-day event. Food, fun, and fashion more your style? The festival has something for you too. It's called the Pink Tie Dinner Party. This year, it's going to be a dinner for 400 people. Partygoers are encouraged to wear their best pink cocktail attire. There'll be lots of great food, lots of great music and dancing, and it's a fun, formal way, more like a gala, to celebrate the festival. This is a paid event, of course, and it's something that you're going to want to buy tickets for. It often sells out, so make sure you buy those tickets early. I'll put a link in the description. And the great thing about this paid event is that all proceeds go toward the festival 501c3. And lastly, you have to see the blossoms. What's coming to the festival or coming to DC for the Cherry Blossom Festival and not seeing the blossoms? That is the most important thing, of course. All these events are fun, but there's nothing like a free stroll through the cherry blossoms to get you in the mood for spring. The best and most popular place to see those blossoms is the tidal basin. There are over 3,500 trees now that circle the tidal basin, and it is just the most spectacular event. When those blossoms are out and you look up, it is a sky of pink. And if you're there on a day that it gets windy and the petals start to drop, it's like a magical pink snow. It's really, really lovely. But it can get crowded. It can get busy. It can get a little bit too much. You cannot park there. You've got to park further away and walk. And for some people, it's just a little too crowded to be enjoyable. So where else can you see those blossoms? This is what I talked about at the beginning. Here are some of the secret places that only the locals know about. So Haynes Point, East Potomac Park. It's actually very close to the tidal basin. A lot of people know about it, but maybe not as many as the tidal basin. And if you can take that extra walk out to Haynes Point, it's a lovely way to see the blossoms, and you're still along the water, which is also beautiful. Did you know that DC has a national arboretum? There are cherry blossoms there. The Arboretum is a beautiful green space with lots of amazing trees and plants, and that is a secret place for you to see the blossoms. The Basilica of the National Shrine of Immaculate Conception also has beautiful cherry trees, so you can find peace and solitude and beautiful blossoms there as well. Congressional Cemetery also has beautiful cherry blossoms. Again, another reverent place to see the blossoms and to celebrate the season. And lastly, Kenwood, Maryland. Kenwood, Maryland planted multiple cherry trees in the 1940s as a way to entice people to move to their beautiful neighborhood. Now it is overflowing with beautiful cherry trees, and the locals know that's the place to go. You're going to need a car, but remember, you can't park in their neighborhood. Just keep driving or park somewhere else and take a little walk through their neighborhood. But it is a beautiful way to see the blossoms without the crowds of the tidal basin. That's Kenwood, Maryland. Want to see the big picture of where all the blossoms are in DC? Casey Trees has put together a cherry tree map. It's really cool, and you can see where all the blossoms are all over the city. I'll put a link to their map in the description below. What's your favorite part about cherry blossom season? Do you like to see them at the tidal basin? Do you like someplace tucked away? There are other places you can see those cherry blossoms too. If you know of a secret place, make sure you put it in the comments so everybody can see where else they might want to check out the cherry blossoms. Tell me if you've seen them before and if it's on your bucket list for this year. Are you new to my channel or you just haven't subscribed yet? Make sure that you do. I post new videos every week, just like this one, either about Washington, D.C. or real estate in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area, and I'd love to have you come along.